Hi, Rama. It's week 37, day 4 of our Bible narrative reading plan. Today we are in John chapter 4. We come to the story of Jesus and the woman at the well. This takes place in a particular place. It takes place in Samaria. It's important for us to understand a little bit about Samaria to know why certain responses happen in this story. Samaria is the name of a city that became the capital of the northern kingdom after Israel divided in the Old Testament. But it came to refer to that entire region. So after people began to return from exile, it became a place that had both Jews and Gentiles in it, and they often intermarried. And so the Jewish people hated those who were known as Samaritans or Samaritans. They were viewed as a half-breed type of people because they were intermarried with Gentiles. And so this helps us understand why this woman talks the way she does, feeling so outcast. She's treated like an outcast by when she goes to the well at the middle of the day, because even the women of that society look down upon her because of her multiple marriages, which Jesus knows all about because he is God. But it also helps us understand why the disciples respond the way that they do. They can't understand and believe that Jesus is talking to this woman, this kind of woman, a Samaritan woman who has been divorced so many times here in public in the middle of the day. And so we see a lot about Jesus's heart for the lost in this story. Verse 4 of chapter 4 says he had to pass through Samaria. Now, most Jews did not have to pass through Samaria. They went around the other way. They took the long path just so that they did not have to go through this land because they wanted nothing to do with the people. But Jesus was very intentional about going this way, this path, because he knew who this woman was. He knew who he would run into. He knew that she needed to hear from the Lord as well. And so everything Jesus does is intentional. And so we see a lot about his heart for the lost in this story, but we also see a very important teaching about worship. You see, she asks Jesus about places. She asks about physical things. Are we right, or are the Jewish people right? Are we supposed to be worshiping in the temple or on the mountain? Who's right about worship? Who's doing it right? And Jesus says, no, you're misunderstanding. Because of my death, burial, and resurrection, worship is not tied to physical places any longer. The Lord is seeking people who will worship him in spirit and in truth. The spirit being that inner response that we have, but that inner response comes when we understand truth about God. So we can't worship God in just our spirits. We can be controlled by our emotions that way. We can be whipped up into a frenzy by emotional music or certain types of preaching or certain things that happen in a worship service or out just in our everyday life. We can be churned up into a certain response and have that inner response, that inner spirit feeling, but we aren't responding in truth. We must learn God's truth through his word, and Jesus is teaching that as truth incarnate. And so Jesus is teaching something very important as we study about worship, is that the Lord is looking for those who will worship in spirit and in truth. So much richness in this story, but the Lord has much to teach us here. Here's a summary of today's reading. For more information, go to tunemyheart.org.